I'm in GT, my brother is Broly. Chapter 141 pointing to Super 4 transformations. Broly transformed into a gorilla. Nodding, Bupa didn't continue talking nonsense, glanced at Broly and said, Broly, do you want to transform into Super Saiyan 4? Super Saiyan 4, 39. Hearing this, not only Broly, but Son Goten was also surprised. Immediately afterwards, the eyes of the two of them all followed Bupa's location, and their eyes were full of excitement. Big brother. Subconsciously, Broly said, can I really? 5. Can I really transform into Super Saiyan 4? Good. Nodding his head, Bupa smiled lightly, and then said, although it is Super Saiyan 4 instead of Quan Super 4, it should also make you stronger. And once the transformation of Super Saiyan 4 is completed, then the transformation of Super Saiyan 3 and Super Saiyan 4 should be completed faster. However, it is not easy to complete the transformation of Super Saiyan 4. Although you are a super bloodline, I am not sure if you will lose your mind after you transform into a giant ape. This is what worries Bupa most. If Broly can stay sane, that would be great news. If Broly can't master his own sanity after turning into a gorilla, then the possibility of wanting to complete the Super 4 is low. Turn into a giant ape. Hearing this, Broly and Son Goten both revealed doubts. Broly has never been transformed into a giant ape, and even if he was, he can't remember. The same is true for Son Goten. Although he completed his transformation when he was a child, he has no memory afterward. Good. Nodding, Bupa didn't give a shit, and said directly, if you want to transform into Super Saiyan 4, you need to transform into a gorilla first. Recover your sanity after transforming, and then activate Super Saiyan to transform into a giant ape. If you can complete the transformation to the golden giant ape, you can continue to the last step and transform into Super Saiyan 2 in the form of a gorilla, so as to directly complete the transformation of Super Saiyan 4. Hiss. After listening to Bupa's remarks, both Broly and Son Goten couldn't help gasping for breath. Completing these 3 steps in Super Saiyan 4 is simply too difficult, especially for Son Goku and Son Goten, as inferior Saiyan blood. They will lose their minds after they turn into gorillas. While Broly turned into a gorilla when he was a child, Bupa is not sure if he is really sane. You said yes. Broly didn't show any mercy when he was playing Paragus as a kid, but you said no. But when Broly turned into a gorilla when he was a child, he never hurt Bupa. Big brother. At this time, Broly came back to his senses first and said, how many times can you increase your combat power after you transform into Super Saiyan 4? As soon as these words came out, Son Goten's eyes also lit up. Super 1 increases the combat power by 50 times, Super 2 increases the combat power by 100 times, and Super 3 increases the combat power by 400 times. Under such a basis, the combat power of the Super 4 should be likely to reach about 1000 times. Let's start 10,000 times. Liu. However, after Bupa pondered for a moment, he directly gave an answer that made both Broly and Son Goten short of breath. 10,000 times start. How can that be? Is Super Saiyan's transformation boost so scary? 66.99. The next moment, Broly and Son Goten immediately exclaimed, staring at Bupa with a look of astonishment and disbelief. This is just the beginning. 55. In this regard, Bupa said very indifferently, I don't know exactly how many times the combat power will be increased, but at least it is 10,000 times. You know, in the original Super 3 Son Goku can't even handle a single finger of Beerus. At that stage, there may only be the combat power of the first entry level, but with the completion of Super Saiyan God, the combat power of this level will be reached. The transformation of the Super 4 is stronger than Super Saiyan, which is comparable to the Super Saiyan blue color. This also means that the increase of Super 4 should be more terrifying than Super Saiyan, which is definitely a 10,000 times start. Even the Super Blue transformation is likely to be 100,000 times, or even 1,000,000 times the increase. Otherwise, it is not enough to explain the 7th universe Son Goku, Vegeta reached Z level or even Rang level combat power in a few months under wise training. Brother, teach me. Be sure to teach me to complete Super Saiyan 4! 99. At this time, Broly was impatient, stepped forward and grabbed Bupa's arm, his eyes full of anticipation. Not only him, but also Son Goten on the side is staring straight at Bupa, his eyes full of longing. It is good. In response, Bupa nodded indifferently, then looked at Son Goten and said, as for you, Goten, you will have to wait for a while. 95. You don't even have a tail now, so you can't complete the gorilla transformation at all, let alone a transformation in the future. What? Hearing this, Son Goten subconsciously looked at the tail wrapped around Bupa and Broly's waist, and said with a bitter expression, my tail was cut off. 35. I don't know if I can make it grow. At this moment, Son Goten was full of tears. Knowing that the tail is so important, he would never let Piccolo cut it off. Okay. In this regard, Bupa smiled indifferently, if it doesn't grow, just let it grow for you after Namek Shenron can use it for a while. Hearing this, Son Goten sighed with relief. Yup. And the presence of Shenron. Shenron's power can be resurrected from the dead, and growing a tail is definitely not a problem. Thinking of this, Son Goten immediately looked at Bupa and said, "Then, Uncle Bupa, let's start." "I also want to see the transformation of Super 4, I don't know if Uncle Broly can succeed." "Of course I can make it." In this regard, Broly said unceremoniously, "Well done, brother, come on." "It is good." Nodding his head, Bupa didn't talk nonsense, raised his hand and immediately activated the artificial moon ability. Go. With a low drink, Bupa directly threw the artificial moon into the air. In the next second, the artificial moon shines brightly. With a special light shining on the planet, Bupa said, "Broly, look up at it." "Yes, sir." With a promise, Broly didn't hesitate, raised his head and looked at the artificial moon in midair. Thump. Plop. One. What one? The intense heartbeat resounded, and the breath around Broly could be seen violently. In just a few short breaths, Broly's entire body began to grow rapidly. Roar. With a low roar resounding, a black-haired gorilla with a height of 7 or 8 meters appeared on the planet. Chapter 142 Super 4 Broly, a 20,000-fold increase in combat power. Add. Rumbling. Rumbling. The gorilla was raging, and the huge body not only moved, but also waved its arms, and countless Kaigong bombs swept out continuously at this moment. Not good. Seeing this, Son Goten's expression changed. He quickly pulled away and came to Bupa's side, and said nervously, "Uncle Bupa, what's the situation? Has Uncle Broly lost his mind?" 99. Hearing this, Bupa also frowned. If Broly loses his mind, then he can only suppress it completely by himself. But Bupa doesn't believe Broly is losing his mind either. After all, it is a super bloodline, and it has evolved once. Under such circumstances, it is somewhat unreasonable for him to lose his mind. Wait and see. Taking a deep breath, Bupa flew Son Goten to an area not far away, and looked at the gorilla raging in the field, frowning and falling into an infinite tangle in his heart. Rumble. One. Rumbling. Under such circumstances, Broly's rampage continued. Under such circumstances, the entire planet has already begun to crumble, countless underground volcanoes erupted along with it, and terrifying magma ravished all over the planet. According to the situation of 103, if there is no accident, then the entire planet is likely to completely collapse along with it, and even if it is a little careless, the star will be wiped out. Add. Can't wait any longer. Seeing this, Bupa's eyes flashed, and he immediately said, "Goen, you are waiting for me here." After saying that, Bupa floated and galloped towards Broly. Although he doesn't care about the destruction of a mere planet, Broly is not good for the current situation. If you continue to indulge in this power, then Broly will not have any possibility to transform into a golden giant ape and evolve into Super Saiyan 4. Call out. The sound of breaking through the air resounded, and Bupa's figure appeared in the area in front of Broly. Broly. With a low roar, Bupa's breath swept out and pressed against the gorilla, and said, "Wake up for me quickly." Thump. It's just that Broly of Great Ape knelt down on one knee instantly. After Great Ape, Broly's combat power was only 5 trillion, and it was completely impossible for a low-grade Bupa to feel oppressive at 25 trillion. Brother. However, at this moment, Broly's eyes suddenly recovered a little clarity after seeing Bupa's car. Immediately afterwards, the turbid and violent look in Broly's eyes began to dissipate at a speed visible to the naked eye. Effective. Seeing this, Bupa was stunned for a moment, and then he said excitedly, "So it is. Broly's sanity is mine. Only with me can Broly stay sane. No wonder he never hurt me when he was a child. It turns out that he pinned all his reason on me." 39. At this moment, Bupa was quite moved. This is his younger brother. This is his blood-connected brother. Add. Brother. At this time, the gorilla Broly regained a lot of sanity, looked at Bupa and said, "What should I do now?" Transformed into a super race shadow. Hearing this, Bupa also came back to his senses, not caring about his inner thoughts, and immediately said, "Go directly to the super transformation. Remember not to use the super transmission mode." Although you can also transform into a Quan Jiao 4, rashly becoming a Quan Jiao 4 before completing the Quan Jiao 3 will reduce your upper limit of potential. Yes. Hearing this, Broly nodded immediately. Immediately afterwards, Broly growled, "Drink." As the low roar continued to resound, Broly began to spew golden air around him. Under such circumstances, Broly's chi began to soar rapidly, and the time of just a few breaths increased by 50 times to 250 trillion. Under such circumstances, Broly immediately transformed into a golden giant ape. For a time, the entire planet trembled violently, and countless lightnings fell from the sky, like the end of the world. However, Bupa was extremely indifferent at the moment, looking at Broly who had transformed into a golden giant ape, and immediately said, "Broly, continue the transformation of Super Saiyan 2 and Super Saiyan 3. Remember, you must use all the power of Super Saiyan, and only in this way can you directly transform into Super Saiyan 4. Yes, sir." Hearing this, Broly nodded immediately. Immediately afterwards, Broly clenched his fists again, and burst into his mouth. Ha! For a time, Broly's chi began to soar rapidly. In just a few breaths, Broly's chi increased by 100 times, and the original 250 trillion combat power also reached the point of 2.5 Beijing. It was at this time that Broly's chi soared again, 4 times from the original 2.5 Beijing, and directly reached the level of 10 Beijing. At this point, the aura around Broly stopped abruptly. At this moment, Broly burst out with red light. It's done. It's done. Seeing this, Bupa was very excited and stared at Broly under the red light. It can be clearly seen that the huge golden gorilla begins to shrink rapidly, which is obviously the trend of completing Super Saiyan 4. Is this a success? Amazing. This Super Saiyan 4 transformation is terrifying. Seeing this situation, Son Goten on the side was even more excited. He quickly flew to Bupa's body. His eyes were hot. Great tapes 10 times the combat power, plus 50 times that of Super 1 and 100 times that of Super 2. This is the 50,000 times the combat power increase. And the 4-fold increase in combat power of Super 3 also appeared, and the increase in combat power was increased by a factor of 200,000 all of a sudden. This kind of increase in power is simply astounding, and the increase in combat power by 20,000 times is simply unbelievable. A 200,000-fold increase in combat power. Hearing this, Bupa glanced at Son Goten, then shook his head and muttered, "This should be more than that." Broly's Super 3 form has not yet reached full power, otherwise it should be able to double. In addition, Super 4 also has a full power form. This is just the first time to enter Super 4. I believe that when Broly completely improves it, it will be stronger. Hiss. After listening to Bupa's words, Son Goten couldn't help taking another breath of cold air and said in disbelief, "Doesn't that mean that after completing the full power of Super 3, the power of Super 4 will increase by 40,000 times? There is also the state of full power, at least double it, which means that the combat power can be increased by at least 80,000 times under full power." Speaking of which, Son Goten's breathing was extremely short. At this moment, his heart towards Baozi was already extremely strong. Chapter 143 Anger State Super 4 Transmission Super Mode Ideas. Add drink. At this moment, Broly's low roar came from the ground. Looking at the reputation, it can be seen that the red radiance around Broly has subsided. When all the red light disappeared, Broly, who was covered in red hair and black eyes, was standing on the ground. In an instant, the air around Broly spewed out, and the whole person felt more and more sharp. Wow, so handsome. Seeing Broly's current appearance, Son Goten subconsciously exclaimed, and his eyes were full of fiery and yearning. Not only him, but also Bupa was shocked by the appearance of this Super 4. Have to admit, even though Super 4 belongs to GT Universe Saiyan's incarnation, he is more handsome than Super Saiyan in the main universe except for Ultra Instinct and Shirakami form. Super Saiyan Blue, Super Saiyan Pink, and Super Saiyan Dark Blue are not as handsome as Super Saiyan. This is the appearance of a real man, unruly and windy, and this is the true power of Saiyan blood. Come on, let's go and see. After regaining his senses, Bupa waved his hand and flew straight towards where Broly was. Seeing this situation, Son Goten did not hesitate, and hurriedly followed him. Soon, Bupa and Son Goten arrived at Broly's place. 35. At this time, Broly had opened his eyes and felt his own surging power, and the whole person was very excited at this moment. Immediately afterwards, he quickly stepped forward to Bupa and said, "Brother, I succeeded. I completed Super Saiyan 4 transformation." 9. Nodding his head, Bupa reached out and patted Broly on the shoulder and said, "Your Super 3 full power has not yet been completed. After that, you still need to work hard to cultivate. After completing the Super 3 full power, your current combat power can be doubled. Besides, Super 4 also has a full power form, and you have to practice hard after that." Yes. Hearing this, Broly nodded heavily. After completing the Super 4, he also understood where his flaws were. Thinking of this, Broly suddenly said, "Brother, I found a problem. I still seem to be able to cast rage." 99. Saying that, Broly clenched his fists. In the next second, it could be seen that Broly's body began to grow, reaching a height of more than 3 meters in just a few breaths. At the same time, Broly's combat power has also increased from 10 to 100. Seeing this situation, Son Goten was dumbfounded and said in disbelief, "How is that possible? Isn't the power of the Great Ape already integrated into the Super 4 transformation?" 35. How can you still display anger now? Doesn't this mean that you can increase your combat power tenfold at once? Not only him, but also Bupa was taken aback. The state of anger is Super 4. This Nima is simply a situation against the sky, and many more. Suddenly, Bupa seemed to think of something, looked at Broly and said, "Broly, can you try to transform into Quan Jiao now? If we transform into Quan Jiao in the Super 4 form, then the limit of our Quan Jiao bloodline will be higher." What? Transform into Quan Jiao in Super 4 forms? Hearing this, Broly and Son Goten were both stunned. Can this kind of thing be done? You must know that the current Broly has increased by a full 2 million times. If you are transforming into the Super Transfer mode, wouldn't it be able to increase by 100 times? Even 1000 times? Gudu. After swallowing, Broly was short of breath and said quickly, "Brother, then I'll try it now." Saying that, Broly took a deep breath and clenched his fists solemnly. Drink. The next second, the grass-green chi began to rage. It can be seen that Broly's hair in the Super 4 form starts to change between black and green. Under such circumstances, Broly's anger also soared rapidly, and the terrifying sense of oppression made both Bupa and Son Goten retreat. Really? 99. Is this something that can really be successful? 35. Seeing this, Son Goten gulped wildly. His whole body was breathing heavily and his eyes were full of hot colors. Super 4 transmission super mode. If this kind of success is successful, even if he integrates the mysterious state into himself in the Super Ace transformation, I am afraid that it is completely incomparable. Da. Suddenly, Broly's chi suddenly collapsed, and the whole person swayed a few times, and a smear of blood overflowed from the corner of his mouth. Failed. 35. Seeing this, Bupa frowned, and immediately stepped forward and came to Broly's side. Zero ask for flowers 0. After checking Broly's situation, he quickly took out a fairy bin and handed it out. Broly, eat the fairy bin first. Yes, with a promise. Broly didn't dare to neglect and quickly picked up the fairy bin and swallowed it, grumbling. As the fairy bin was eaten, Broly's whole person's breath gradually stabilized. After a few breaths, Broly's pale face returned to normal. Immediately afterwards, his eyes turned to Bupa who was on the side and said, "Brother, I feel that in the Super 4 form, it is possible to carry out the super transformation. But it seems that something is preventing me from completing this. Every time I am about to complete it, I feel a little powerless in my body, as if something is missing." "Brother, do you know what's going on?" Point 0. Something is missing. Powerless. Hearing this, Bupa also frowned. According to Broly, it means that his vision is achievable, but something is missing. Could it be the bloodline? Suddenly, Bupa's eyes flashed, and he seemed to think of something and raised his head suddenly and said, "Broly, when you're out of power, do you feel that the power of your blood is not enough?" 35. Right. Hearing this, Broly was refreshed and thought a little. "Brother, as you said, I wasn't sure before, but now I think the missing thing should be the lack of blood power. It's like I would have felt this way when I transformed into Quan Jiao 2 before taking the bloodline purification pill. It's just that I could do it forcibly at the time, but I would also lose my mind, but now I can't do it forcibly." Sure enough, Bupa breathed a sigh of relief after receiving Broly's reply, but began to think inside. Insufficient blood. Then either get the bloodline purification pill, either go to the main universe and collect Super Shenron. Wish to boost Broly's bloodline. At this moment, Bupa clenched his fists and said with determination, "It's decided. After completing the potential development, I will take Broly to the main universe with the Supreme Kai version of instant transmission and the presence of Free Omen. Even if it is not the opponent of Gods of Destruction, collecting Dragon Ball is not a problem." 7. Chapter 144 Bupa's Super 4 Forms, 9600 Beijing Battle Power. Blood Purification Pill. It's a blood booster. On the side Son Goten looked at Broly and Bupa in shock at the moment. You know, Son Goten is no longer a child, and he understands some things very well. Especially Saiyan has bloodline strength and class distinction. For example, Son Goku is the inferior Saiyan, Vegeta is the royal Saiyan, and Bupa and Broly are the legendary Super Saiyan. In general, the strength of Saiyan bloodline may not be much different, but it also determines the strength of the upper limit. Just like Vegeta, Son Goku completed his Super Saiyan transformation back in the days of Namek. Even after practicing for so long, Vegeta, who is a royal Saiyan, after his successful transformation, his strength is directly comparable to Son Goku, who has been practicing for so long. This is the power of blood. 07. Now Broly actually said that there is something that can improve blood, which shocked Son Goten and filled his heart with desire. Uncle Bupa. Subconsciously, Son Goten then said, "Is there still a blood purification pill?" What? Looking at Son Goten, Bupa said indifferently, "I also accidentally got one of that thing and gave it to Broly." If there is, maybe Broly will be able to transform into the super transfer mode in the case of Super 4. Unfortunately, the thing is hard to come by, even I can't get it now. As he spoke, Bupa became more determined to go to the main universe in his heart. You must know that the main universe has a full 12 universes, except for the protagonist of the 7th universe. The existence of the other universes are all main and supporting roles. If these guys are taken down, they can also bring special rewards to Bupa. Broly. Thinking of this, Bupa said immediately, "You take Gohan to the side area and wait. I'll try to transform into Super Saiyan 4 next." "Yes, sir." Hearing this, Broly nodded immediately, and his eyes were full of anticipation. He has become so much stronger after completing the Super 4 transformation, so Bupa will definitely be stronger after completing the Super 4. Immediately, Broly and Son Gohan no longer hesitated, and quickly pulled back and did not dare to stay in place. After all, Bupa's combat power is much stronger than Broly's, and even if it is transformed into a gorilla, it will be even more violent. After the two left, Bupa no longer hesitated, raised his head and looked at the artificial moon in midair. Thump, thump. For a time, the sound of the heart beating became more and more intense. Under such circumstances, Bupa could clearly feel that his emotions were starting to rage. But this kind of madness didn't last long. and soon Buppa had a clear light in his mind to suppress it. With the passage of time, Buppa's body began to grow rapidly, and soon became a gorilla with a height of more than 7 meters. Roar! With a low growl, the gorilla's voice came out. In an instant, Buppa's chi increased from 25 trillion to 250 trillion. The entire planet shook violently at this moment, and Buppa's violent chi continued to rage. The transformation is complete. I don't know if Big Brother can regain his senses. Seeing this scene, Broly said with a worried look. Not only him, but also Son Goten on the side is extremely worried. After all, he saw Broly's runaway before. It's not that the rampant Buppa is terrible, but that once he falls into the rampage, there is almost no possibility of regaining his sanity in a short period of time. Drink. However, at this moment Buppa's low growl resounded quietly. In the next second, golden air began to surround his body, and the aura of the whole person increased at a speed visible to the naked eye. In just a few breaths, a golden gorilla appeared on the planet. It's done. My brother has regained his senses. Seeing this, Broly was overjoyed. He knew that if he did not regain his senses, it would be almost impossible to become a golden gorilla. Thinking of this, Broly no longer hesitated, and swiftly flew forward. Uncle Broly, wait for me. Seeing this, Son Goten was also relieved, and quickly followed Broly and flew towards the field. Not bad. 99. Good. At this time, Buppa felt the aura in his body fluctuate, and the corner of his mouth rose slightly and said, sure enough, the combat power has been increased by 50 times. Now my combat power has reached the level of 1.2 Beijing, but this is far from enough. 0. As he spoke, Buppa clenched his fists and drank again. Drink. In the next second, Super Saiyan 2 transformed and activated, and the aura around Buppa instantly increased to 120 Beijing. And this is just the beginning. As the chi around his body surged, Buppa directly activated Super Saiyan 3 to transform. In an instant, Buppa's original combat power of 120 Jing soared to 960 Jing. Buppa's Super Saiyan 3 transformation is already at full power, so the final boost is 8x, not 4x like Broly's. At this moment, the red brilliance shone brightly, the figure of the golden giant ape began to shrink, and the appearance of the Super 4 form Buppa also quietly emerged. It's done. Big Brother succeeded. 99. Uncle Buppa has also become a Super 4. Seeing this, Broly and Son Goten on the side immediately cheered, their eyes full of excitement. Especially Son Goten. After seeing Buppa and Broly's Super 4 transformations, he can't wait to do it. It's a pity that he doesn't have a tail now, otherwise, he must try to transform into a Super 4. Soon the crimson brilliance gradually dissipated, and the figure of Buppa with red hair and black hair also appeared on the ground. Big Brother, Uncle Buppa. With a shout, Broly and Son Goten quickly came to the area where Buppa was at 0.7. After he floated to the ground, Broly stared straight at Buppa and said, Brother, can you try to transform into a super transfer mode? 99. It is good. Hearing this, Buppa did not refuse. As soon as his mind moved, Buppa immediately became angry. In the next second, Buppa's body grew to more than 3 meters, and his combat power also reached the level of 9,600 Beijing. Almost. I'm just a little bit closer to reaching a battle strength. Once I reach AI combat power, then I have the basic ability to go to the main universe. Muttering inwardly, Buppa took a deep breath and immediately clenched his fists again. Ha! In the next second, the grass-green chi spewed out, and the chi in Buppa's whole body began to soar rapidly, and the whole body was constantly switching between the super transmission mode and the super 4 forms. Chapter 145 Potential Development Completed. Disappointed Son Goku. However, with the constant switching of transformations, Buppa also clearly felt that he had more than enough power. Certainly not. The bloodline level is a little worse. Opening his eyes, Buppa quickly dissipated and transformed into super mode and returned to normal. Fortunately, his bloodline strength is a little higher than Broly, otherwise he will be injured. Failed? Seeing this, Broly sighed, his eyes filled with pity. I thought that Buppa could succeed, but now he has also failed, which means that it is really a problem of blood. No need to worry. Opening his eyes, Buppa glanced at Broly, and then said, the problem of blood can't be solved now, but it doesn't mean that it can't be solved in the future. Broly, the most important thing for you now is to improve the Super 3 full power and Super 4 full power, and improve your basic combat power. As for the Super 4 passes super mode, it's not something that can be accomplished overnight, just like Goten's mysterious state is integrated into itself. Yes. 35. Hearing this, Broly packed up his emotions and nodded. He also understood that he was a little too ambitious, so he calmed down and said, what my brother taught me is that I will definitely work hard to improve my basic combat power and improve my transformation form at the current stage. Nodding, Buppa patted Broly on the shoulder and said, it's the best you can think of. Ding. The bound character Son Goku has increased his combat power by 400 billion to trigger a tenfold return, and congratulations to the host for obtaining a 4 trillion combat power increase. With the sound of the system prompt resounding, Buppa immediately felt the combat power in his body soaring, from the original 25.6 trillion to 29.6 trillion. Almost 30 megabytes. Good, very good. Feeling the fluctuation of the power in the body, the corner of Bupa's mouth rose slightly, and said with a solemn expression, let's go back to the Supreme Kai world first. The potential development of Son Goku is almost complete, and it's up to you, Broly. 99. Hopefully the potential development this time makes you stronger. 35. After speaking, Bupa no longer hesitated, grabbing Broly and Son Goten and launching instant transmission to leave Supreme Kai world. Drink. Son Goku stood up, and along with his low roar resounded, it could be seen that the chi around him was soaring rapidly, and it would reach 406 billion in a short period of time. However, at the moment Son Goku is not satisfied with the completion of the aura. He is still trying to raise his own energy, trying to transform into a mysterious state like Son Goten. However, no matter how hard he tried, it ended in failure, and he was completely unable to grasp the mysterious state. Old Supreme Kai. After many attempts to no avail, Son Goku opened his eyes in disappointment, looked at the old Supreme Kai and said, why can't I transform into a mysterious state like Goten? The mysterious state can increase the combat power by 600 times, which is more than a Super 3. How could Son Goku not be moved? And according to the previous speculation, the mysterious state can also be integrated into the normal state, thereby enhancing his basic combat power and transforming into a super race. It can be said that once the mysterious state is mastered, there is a certain degree of confidence that the basic combat power can be increased by 600 times. But how could he accept that Son Goku couldn't do it? No way. 35. In this regard, the old Supreme Kai shook his head, looked at Son Goku indifferently and said, your bloodline is more inclined to be violent, and there is no real peace of mind, so you can't complete the mysterious state. Son Goten was able to succeed because he was a half-blood Saiyan, and the blood in his body was influenced by the blood of human beings so that he could transform into a mysterious state. I see. After listening to the old Supreme Kai's remarks, Son Goku suddenly realized, and then smiled bitterly, I didn't expect that pure Saiyan blood would have such drawbacks. 99. Sure enough, Goten's potential is far beyond me, and I don't know if he can really cultivate the mysterious state into a normal state. Speaking of which, Son Goku's eyes were full of envy. Zizzy. At this time, the space shook, and Bupa appeared in the arena with the figures of Broly and Son Goten. Mr. Bupa, Broly, Goten. Seeing the appearance of the three Bupa, Son Goku, and the old Supreme Kai all came forward to greet them, especially Son Goku. He stared directly at Bupa and Broly who were still in the Super 4 form at the moment. Bupa. Broly, what kind of transformation form are you? Dad. Seeing this, Son Goten quickly replied, this is the transformation of Super Saiyan 4. Just after my Uncle Broly and I finished sparring, Uncle Bupa helped Uncle Broly complete the transformation of Super Saiyan 4. I originally wanted to try it, but I lost my tail and couldn't transform into a gorilla for Super Saiyan 4. Super Saiyan 4. Hearing this, Son Goku's eyes suddenly burst into a hot color. Mysterious state practice failed. Then he doesn't want to miss the transformation of Super Saiyan 4. Subconsciously, Son Goku said, Goten, why do you want a tail? What does transforming into Super Saiyan 4 have to do with transforming into a gorilla? Nodding his head, Son Goten said with a serious look, if you want to transform into Super Saiyan 4, you must first transform into a gorilla, and then perform a super transformation in the form of a gorilla to evolve into Super Saiyan 4. 107. Dad, our tail was cut off, can it grow back? After saying that, Son Goten looked straight at Son Goku. Although Bupa had previously said that he could make wishes with a Dragon Ball, Son Goten didn't want to wait any longer. Namek Shenron still has more than a month to recover, and Shenron on Earth still has about 11 months. Strangeness. At this time, the old Supreme Kai came to Bupa and Broly, looked around them for a few times, and then said, the Saiyan bloodline is actually performed to the extreme. 35. It's unbelievable that there are still Saiyans in this era who can make such a transformation. 35. Red hair, black hair. Although it is a little different from the ancient times, but it is definitely the ultimate Super Saiyan. Bupa, how did you know about this transformation? Even in my time as Supreme Kai, no one in Saiyan except the royal family knew about the ability and steps of this transformation. Royal transformation. Raising his brows, Bupa glanced at the old Supreme Kai and said, this is Super Saiyan 4 I figured out by myself, not a transformation that can only be accomplished by a royal family. Old Supreme Kai, since you have already helped Son Goku to develop his potential, then let's help my brother Broly develop his potential. Chapter 146. Broly develops potential. Son Goku and Son pull their tails. Hearing this, the old Supreme Kai's face collapsed. He's just helped Son Goku develop his potential, and he's extremely tired at the moment. In the current situation, Bupa asked him to develop his potential for Broly, and the old Supreme Kai only felt wronged. Even two people should have time to rest. Subconsciously, the old Supreme Kai opened his mouth and said, King Bupa, my physical strength is huge, I go. Before the old Supreme Kai finished talking, Bupa took the lead and threw a fairy bean directly into the mouth of the old Supreme Kai. Tilde. Immediately after eating fairy beans, the old Supreme Kai felt that his exhaustion had completely disappeared, and even the divine power that had been consumed was restored to its original state. Feeling his own situation, the old Supreme Kai widened his eyes with helplessness on his face. He knew that he couldn't rest. This immortal bean directly made him have no resistance. Okay. 39. With a sigh, the old Supreme Kai looked at Broly and said, "You sit aside and I will develop your potential. But you can't move and you can't speak at this stage of development." "It is good." Hearing this, Broly nodded. He could see the strength of this potential development, and he was more aware of the importance of this potential development to himself. Immediately, Broly walked to the side area, sat down, and said, "I'm ready." 99. Seeing this situation, the old Supreme Kai flashed a hint of helplessness in his eyes, but he did not hesitate, and immediately began to develop the potential of Broly. Bupa. Yeah. Seeing this, Son Goku stepped forward and said excitedly, "I remember, Piccolo should be able to pull our tails out." "Is it possible to transform into Super Saiyan 4 with a tail?" "Can." Looking at Son Goku, Bupa said indifferently, "The premise is that you can regain your senses after turning into a gorilla. But it's not difficult, and I can help you complete this step at that time." "Excellent." 35. Hearing this, Son Goku was overjoyed. With Bupa's guarantee, he also has absolute certainty that he can complete the transformation of Super Saiyan 4. He has just learned from Son Goten how terrifying the promotion of Super Saiyan 4 is. The 200,000-fold, or even 400,000-fold increase in combat power, once mastered, his father and son will also become one of the top powerhouses in the universe. Thinking of this, Son Goku immediately said, "Master Bupa, please take us to the Earth. Hopefully Piccolo can help me and go and get our tails out." "It is good." Nodding, Bupa did not refuse. He'll be heading to the main universe soon, and possibly Broly. So, the stronger Son Goku and Son Goten are, the more likely it is to maintain the stability of the universe. Otherwise, Bupa really didn't dare to leave with Broly rashly. After all, without the top powerhouse, the entire new Vegeta Star, and even the Justice League he intends to form, may be threatened. Thinking of this, Bupa reached out and grabbed Son Goku and Son Goten, and as soon as his mind moved, he activated instant transmission and disappeared from the spot. Skyline. The figures of Bupa, Son Goku and Son Goten return with them. Piccolo, Uncle Piccolo. After the stature was stable, Son Goku and Son Goten walked towards the area where Piccolo was at the first time. "Grandson, go!" an exclamation mark 3. Seeing this, Piccolo also ended his practice, stood up and said, "You two are back." "How?" "With the potential of Supreme Kai, have you grown stronger?" He also already knew something about the potential of the old Supreme Kai's development, but he didn't know it. "It's done." 35. With a slight smile, the corners of Son Goku's mouth rose. "I have increased my combat power by 400 billion, and Goten has increased more than me." 35. Piccolo, we came back this time to ask for something. "Goten and I want the tail to grow. What can you do?" "Tail?" Hearing this, Piccolo gave Son Goku and Son Goten a puzzled look and said, "Why? That tail is a weak point for you Saiyans, and once caught, it will lose its strength." Hearing this, Son Goku smiled awkwardly and quickly explained, "That's right, we want to transform into Super Saiyan 4. But if you want to complete the transformation of Super Saiyan 4, you must have a tail. Although the tail is a weakness, as long as you exercise hard, you can integrate it into a part of yourself. In the past, it was only because of the trouble of its existence that it was cut off. But now it can't be like this." "I see." Hearing this, Piccolo nodded with a sigh of relief. Super Saiyan 4. If such a transformation really exists, then the matter is really not to be underestimated. Thinking of this, Piccolo immediately said, "This thing is simple, just pull it out with pliers." "But old son, you have to go back after this matter is over." "Chi gave birth to another son for you, named Son Goten. I couldn't get in touch with you before. But now that you're back, it's time to go back and have a look." Son Goten. Hearing this, Son Goku and Son Goten were both startled and subconsciously said, "I have another son. I have a brother." At this moment, both Son Goku and Son Goten were quite excited. After looking at each other, Son Goku said quickly, "Piccolo, let's get started. We'll go back to see Chi and Goten when we've got the tails out of the way." "It is good." With a promise, Piccolo did not hesitate, and walked in one direction. "Come with me." 35. Seeing this, Son Goku and Son Goten did not hesitate, and immediately followed. Son Goten, has it been born yet? On the other hand, Bupa, who got Zhao, at the moment is thoughtful. This Son Goten is also one of the protagonists. Although it is only the main character, its value is not as fast as Son Goten. If Son Goten can also be loyal to himself, it can completely refresh the reward. In addition to this, there are Kling, Shinhan, Dumpling, Master Roshi and others still alive on Earth. These are also the supporting characters in the original work. If they are all subdued, Then, looks like I have to go to Son Goku's house too. Just take this opportunity to invite Krillin and others to join the Justice League, so as to get their allegiance. 39. After making up his mind, Buppa was not impatient, walked to the side area and sat down and began to wait patiently. Moments later, 2 hysterical screams came from the house. It didn't take long for Son Goku and Son Goten to limp out, and the tails behind them were successfully pulled out by Piccolo. Chapter 147. Go to Baozi Mountain and give blood. Son Goten. Already done. Really fast. Seeing this, Buppa raised the corner of his mouth, stood up and walked forward. Son Goku, Son Goten, your tails have been pulled out. 5. But in a short period of time, it has not yet reached the point of complete mastery, and it will take some time to adapt. I will help you to complete the transformation of Super Saiyan 4 after you have completed the adaptation of the tail. It is good. 35. Nodding their heads, both Son Goku and Son Goten understood that what Buppa said was true. They have just tried it too. After the tail was pulled out, their strength also increased, but their own control of chi and strength also became extremely poor. This is the sequel of the tail, and it takes a period of restraint to fully master it. Uncle Buppa. At this time, Son Goten said quietly, "Why don't Uncle go to Baozi Mountain with us?" My brother was born, and Uncle Buppa also went to see it. As soon as these words came out, Son Goku also reacted and said quickly, "Yeah Buppa, Goten is born, how about we go and see together?" If Son Goten's invitation was because he was happy, then Son Goku invited Buppa over, more because he wanted to ask Buppa questions. After all, neither Son Goku nor Son Goten have any experience in exercising the tail. In addition, the previous Vegeta has also been killed, and the only one who can point them is Buppa. It is good. Hearing this, the corners of Buppa's mouth rose slightly. This has always been his goal. Only by going to Baozi Mountain can you see the Z warriors who are still alive on Earth. Only in this way can he take this opportunity to bring all Z warriors under his command. Great. Then let's go now. Son Goku and Son Goten were both overjoyed to receive Buppa's reply. Immediately afterwards, the group did not hesitate, and after calling Piccolo, they galloped towards Baozi Mountain in a mighty manner. Baozi Mountain. As Buppa and others arrive, it can be seen that Master Roshi and other Z fighters also live here. However, the area where they live is next to Son Goku's house, and Lan Chi is responsible for taking care of Chi and Son Goten. After all, only Lan Chi is a woman here, and the rest of Master Roshi and others can't really say that they will take care of Chi who has just given birth. Call out! Call out! The sound of breaking through the air resounded, and Buppa and the others rushed forward. Soon, Buppa and his group of 4 arrived in the courtyard outside Son Goku's house. Goku, Goen, Piccolo ! 9. Seeing the arrival of the 4 of Buppa, Kling and others in the arena immediately stepped forward with great joy. But for Buppa, they chose to ignore it more. For nothing else, it was the feeling that Buppa gave them back then was really bad. Even after going through the hell chapter, Kling and others still keep a distance from Buppa. Looks like it's going to be difficult to get them. 35. Looking at this scene, Buppa appeared calm on the surface, but his heart also fell into thinking. After all, in such a situation, the Z fighters are so resistant to themselves, so there is not much possibility of wanting to bring them under their command. Krillin. 9. Shinshinhan. 5. Dumpling. Grandpa Master Roshi. In this regard, Son Goku and others naturally walked up to greet him. After a brief exchange of people, Son Goku and Son Goten stepped into the room. In this regard, Buppa et al. did not follow. After all, Chi is still confinement. In this case, apart from Lan Chi, only Son Goku and Son Goten can enter it. After a while, there was a burst of laughter from inside the house. Immediately afterwards, Son Goten can be seen walking out of it with Son Goten, who was just born. For a while, Kling and others also stepped forward and surrounded Son Goten, looking at the Son Goten and sighing, "This is Goten." 99. I didn't see it at all some time ago. Yes, he looks almost exactly like Goku when he was a kid. 99. Not only Krillin and others, but also Buppa couldn't help feeling emotional at this moment. This Son Goten is exactly what Son Goku's younger brother looks like. And according to the original story, Son Goten's talent is not even inferior to Son Goten's dodge. At the age of 5 or 6, he can transform into a Super Saiyan. It's a pity that Son Goten was completely scrapped after that. If Son Goten's Nobifan still has a little bit of combat power, then the future Son Goten in the original book is completely the existence of soy sauce. After all, Son Goku was irresponsible and did not teach, and Chi did not allow Son Goten and Son Goten to practice martial arts, which led to the complete waste of their talents. But since I met me, I won't allow this outstanding seedling to be abandoned like this. Underestimated in his heart, Buppa's eyes flashed, and he stepped forward. Goen, show me this Son Goten. 99. As soon as these words came out, Kling and the others looked at Buppa in confusion, and even had some doubts in their eyes. Okay, Uncle Buppa. However, Son Goten didn't hesitate at this moment, and quickly stepped forward and handed Son Goten to Buppa. In this regard, Buppa did not care about the reaction of Kling and others, and after taking over Son Goten, the corner of his mouth rose slightly and said, "Little guy, since your father and brother are both under the command of this king, then you will also be Ben in the future, one of the king's subordinates. So, the king will give you a chance today." Saying that, Buppa opened his mouth, and a cloud of pale green blood essence flew out of his mouth. Go. No nonsense. Buppa directly injected that ball of blood into Son Goten's brow. Buzz tilde. For a while, a buzzing sound resounded. With the grass green air rising into the sky, Son Goten can be seen flying into the air, constantly absorbing Buppa's blood essence and starting to transform himself. Wow! The sound of crying resounded, and the blood essence caused a lot of pain in his transformation, which was unbearable for him. Goten. Seeing this situation, Son Goten, Krillin and others were all anxious. Not sure what Buppa did, but things don't look good for Son Goten right now. Subconsciously, Kling and the others reached out and wanted to bring Son Goten down from midair. However, as soon as Krillin and the others approached, a surging energy swept out of Son Goten's body. Bang bang bang. Almost instantly, the three figures of Krillin, Shinhan and Dumpling fell to the ground, completely unable to resist Son Goten's violent aura at the moment. King Buppa. At this time, Piccolo quickly withdrew his hand to Son Goten, turned his head to look at Buppa and said, "What did you do to Goten?" Chapter 148 Solve the Son family problem. Buppa's poisonous chicken soup. Yes, Uncle Buppa, what happened to my brother? Not only Piccolo, but Son Goten was also worried at the moment. Although he doesn't think Buppa will harm Son Goten, it's not good for Son Goten right now. Goten. At this time, two voices came. Looking at the reputation, it can be seen that Son Goku and Chi-Chi also hurried out of the room. When they saw Son Goten floating in the air, the eyes of the two were also full of worry, especially Chi-Chi. If it wasn't for sure Son Goten didn't have her life in danger, she almost didn't even faint. No need to worry. In this regard, Buppa was very indifferent, took out a fairy bin and swallowed it to restore his state. Immediately afterwards, Buppa looked at Son Goku and Son Goten and said, "Son Goten has good potential and is better than Son Goku by 3 points. However, although his potential is high, he also has certain flaws, that is, Saiyan's blood is thinner in his body. I just gave him a drop of blood essence to completely strengthen the Saiyan bloodline in his body. Now his bloodline potential is not inferior to that of Gohan. Not only that, if he can persevere, then he can get part of Quincao's bloodline power. Although it is not enough to transform into Quincal mode, it can also allow him to master the state of anger." What? There is such a thing. Hearing this, Son Goku and Son Goten were excited. At first, neither of them thought Buppa would hurt Son Goten, but now that they know the truth, their eyes are full of excitement and emotion. Without him, they are very aware of the horror of the legendary Super Saiyan. Even if it is only in a state of anger, it is enough to raise Son Goten's ceiling by a lot. Goku, what the hell does this mean? At this time, Chi-Chi was a little worried. Is there any problem with Goten? No. Chi-Chi. After returning to his senses, Son Goku quickly spoke to comfort. Buppa is helping Goten to improve his potential, and Goten may even be stronger than me in the future. 99. And if Goten can wield a shred of the power of the legendary Super Saiyan, then even I won't be a match for him. I see. After listening to Son Goku's narration, Chi-Chi, Kling and others were all enlightened. Immediately afterwards, Krillin and the others bowed their heads in embarrassment. I thought that Buppa would do something to Son Goten, but I didn't expect it to be a good thing. That's good. 35. That's good. 55. On the contrary, Chi-Chi was relieved, and after he was relieved, he hurriedly bowed to Buppa and said, "Thank you, Mr. Buppa." Chi-Chi is not a stupid woman. It may be a little irrational to deal with Son Goku and Bulma's friendship, but it also proves that her love for Son Goku is absolute. In addition, Chi-Chi is Ox King's daughter, and since childhood, she was a little princess who loved the moon. No problem. With a wave of his hand, Buppa glanced at Chi-Chi, then threw a fairy bin and said, "You can just eat a fairy bin to recover." 35. Recovering slowly on your own is prone to sequelae. 35. From now on, Son Goku, Son Goten will follow me to form the Justice League to protect the peace of universe. So will Son Goten, but he stayed on Earth to live with you when he was a kid. As for the cost of living, don't worry, there are countless gold mines and silver mines in the universe. I will let Son Goku and Son Goten take some back for you to use in life. Hiss. Hearing this, Ken and the others couldn't help but take a deep breath. Gold mine, silver mine. If Son Goku really brought back these things from the universe, then Chi-Chi's family will definitely not be short of money, and even becoming the richest man on Earth will not be a problem. Okay. Hearing this, Chi-Chi also showed a smile at the moment, and after eating the fairy beans, his whole body returned to normal. Immediately afterwards, she looked at Buppa and said, "Then Goku, Goten and Goten will be free from Lord Buppa's care from now on." Master Buppa, you probably haven't eaten yet. I'll go get you something to eat. 35. After speaking, Chi-Chi turned around happily and ran towards the kitchen. She understands that she can't stop Son Goku, Son Goten or anything, and she can't keep them on Earth forever. But Buppa has already planned her future. In the future, she no longer needs to fight for money. She just needs to take good care of Son Goten. After being the mainstay of this family for so many years, and now suddenly relaxed, Chi is naturally extremely happy. After all, Chi forced Son Goten to study, and even let Son Goten study, more because of the poor conditions at home. Zero seeking flowers. If it weren't for this, Chi would never forcefully restrain his children's dreams. Now that Bupa has solved the economic problem in a few words, Chi has also undergone a lot of changes. It worked. Chi, is this a promise? Seeing this, Son Goku said with a look of surprise. He remembered how he told Chi before that he had been rejected for Son Goten to learn martial arts. Not only him, including Son Goten, Klin and others are all looking at each other at the moment. Their eyes are full of incredible colors. If they were not sure that all this was real, they would suspect that they were dreaming. 0. After all, when Chi was so good at talking is simply incredible. Don't be surprised. In response, Bupa smiled lightly, looked at Son Goku and said, Kakarot, you should know what's going on at your house. The economic conditions are too bad. Chi was a princess when she was a child, and she was able to live this poor life with you because she loved you. But you haven't made money these years, so the pressure of the family is on her, and she naturally doesn't want her children to be like you. But now you don't need to worry, there are too many unknown planets in universe, just get some gold mines, and silver mines are enough to make your home conditions worry-free on Earth. In the final analysis, money is not a problem for the strong, but for the native Earthlings. The role of money is greater than that of strength. 99. As soon as these words came out, Son Goku and Son Goten were enlightened. At the same time, there were also Klein and others. As Bupa said, these martial artists are very poor. Although there is the #1 martial arts conference in the world, the money earned is not enough to support them for long. In the final analysis, they still need to find a job like ordinary people, even get a wife and have children, and buy a car and a house. These practical problems are not solved by them. Wow. At this moment, Son Goten's crying stopped abruptly. Looking at the reputation, it can be seen that the transformation has been completed, and the whole body is still filled with a faint green atmosphere. Originally, the combat power was only about 10 points, and now it has directly soared to the point of 5,000 points. 7. Chapter 149, Second-Class Transmission of Super Blood. Promise to accept disciples. Son Goten. Success. Goten is done to transformation. The combat power has increased to 5,000, which is incredible. Seeing this scene, Son Goku, Son Goten and others all exclaimed, looking at Son Goten with envy. You know, whether it's Son Goku or Son Goten, their combat power was only a single digit when they were born. Now Son Goten has 5,000 combat power as a baby, which also shows that his improvement after absorbing Bupa's blood is huge. System, check Son Goten information. At this time, Bupa quickly began to check Son Goten's information. Son Goten, race, hybrid Saiyan, blood, second-class transmission super, combat strength, 5,000. Transformation, great ape, angry state, 110. Not bad. Sure enough, it has become a second-class superhero. Unfortunately, he has no further possibility. 99. Although it is a second-class super transmission, it does not have a strong and super transmission mode every year. In the end, it's just one more angry state than normal Saiyan. Muttering inwardly, Bupa stretched out his hand and took Son Goten back in his arms, looked at Son Goku and Son Goten and said, he has now completely fused my blood and essence. In this case, Son Goten's potential has been filled, and he can use his rage state, but he can't transform into a super transfer mode. 99. Great. It really worked. Hearing this, Son Goku and Son Goten were overjoyed and rushed forward. Looking at Son Goten, who had opened his eyes and looked around curiously. His eyes were full of happiness, and he muttered, Goten, you have to thank Uncle Bupa when you grow up. Yes, when Goten grows up, you and your father and brother help build the Justice League for Lord Bupa. Now you are in a state of anger. That is a transformation that increases your combat power tenfold at once, and you will not be conflicted by super competitions, which is something that neither father nor brother can do. 6,699. As Son Goku and Son Goten continued to speak, Son Goten in Bupa's arms subconsciously looked at where Bupa was. Ding. Detect the surrender of the character Son Goten and whether it is bound. The system prompt sounded quietly. What? There was a hint of surprise in his eyes. Bupa really didn't think that Son Goten, who was just born, already had self-consciousness. However, Bupa felt relieved after contacting Broly for so long when he was a child because Son Goku's crying disturbed him for so long. Bind. Without the slightest hesitation, Bupa spoke up. At the same time, he is also quite looking forward to it at the moment. How much loyalty will Son Goten, who is just a child, have to him? Ding. Detected that the loyalty of the bound character Son Goten reached 100, and successfully triggered 10 times the return ability. Ding. Detecting the loyalty of the bound character Son Goten reaches 90, and rewarding the host with flash power for 0.1 seconds. 9. Ding. Detect the bound character Son Goten's loyalty to 100, reward the host 100 times Kaioken, no damage version. The system beeps loudly. Buppa only felt a shock all over, and then information about Shixiangong and Baixu Kaioken appeared in his mind. In an instant, Buppa followed these two means. Good. With 3 cheers, Buppa reached out and squeezed Son Goten's cheek and said, "Little guy, if you complete the Super Saiyan transformation before the age of 10, then I will personally accept you as a disciple." Hearing this, Son Goten raised his hand and waved it, making a whimper, as if responding to Buppa. On the side, Son Goku and Son Gohan were excited. They know how strong Buppa is, and it is not an exaggeration to call it the first person in the entire universe. If Son Goten can become his disciple, the future achievement will be higher. Thinking of this, Son Goku and Son Gohan said impatiently, "Buppa, I can remember this." "Uncle Buppa, I will definitely teach my younger brother to complete the Super Saiyan transformation before narcolepsy. It is good." In this regard, Buppa did not carelessly, and said indifferently, "Today, so many people can give a testimony. I, Buppa, have always said exactly what I said. As long as Son Goten can do what I want, then I'll take him as my apprentice and teach him his skills." Hearing this, Son Goku and Son Gohan were overjoyed. Clame and the others were also thoughtful at the moment. They have seen that the Son Goku family is now completely bound to Buppa. And once Son Goten becomes Buppa's disciple, the Son Goku family will move towards Buppa completely in the future. Buppa, After a little pondering, Piccolo stepped forward and said, "What is the Justice League in your mouth?" Piccolo, with a twinkle in his eyes, Buppa knew his goal had been achieved. He showed his peaceful posture in front of Krillin and others, and completely bound the Son Goku family to him. This also gives Piccolo and others a difficult problem to choose. If they continue to be unwilling to accept Buppa in their hearts, the Son Goku family will gradually become strangers to them in the future. Piccolo saw through this, so he couldn't help but ask at the moment, while thinking about his choice in his heart. "Justice League?" With an indifferent smile, Buppa glanced at Piccolo, then pointed to the side. Son Gohan said, "Gohan, talk about it. After all, if it's just my words, they don't necessarily believe it." "Yes." With a promise, Son Gohan stepped forward and said, "Uncle Piccolo, this Justice League is an organization founded by Uncle Buppa to maintain the peace of universe. Although the current Justice League has not been completely established, the Namek people have already joined. Besides, Aunt Bummer, Aunt number 21, they have already started to build artificial Saiyan 0.7. As long as there are more than 10 years, the entire Justice League can be completely established, so as to protect the peace of the entire universe, and will all evil and evil shall be destroyed." 5. Hiss. After listening to Son Gohan's remarks, Piccolo and the others couldn't help but take a deep breath. Originally they thought that the Justice League built by Buppa was a large force to rule the universe, but they never imagined that the latter is not to rule the universe, but to maintain the peace of the entire universe. Even if the behavior in this is likely to rule the universe, but if it is true, as Son Gohan said, that the Justice League was created to protect the peace and destroy the evil, then, subconsciously, Piccolo and the others looked at Buppa with their eyes, and their eyes were filled with suspicion, but more with admiration. Chapter 150 The Surrender of the Z Warrior, Superpower and Imprisonment. Protect the peace of the universe. These simple 6 words, but they represent the great significance. They can also understand what it is. King Buppa. After a little pondering, Piccolo looked at Buppa and said, "I wonder if I can join your Justice League?" As soon as these words came out, Krillin and the others also raised their heads and looked at Buppa with anticipation in their eyes. Up to now, everyone understands that it is not the issue of grievances and grievances in the past. Plus Buppa will soon resurrect the dead humans on Earth with Namek Shenron. It can be said that the two sides no longer have any grudges in a sense. Not to mention now that Vegeta is dead. In particular, the latter forcibly took away Trunks last time, which made Krillin and others feel sad and helpless. Glancing at Piccolo, Buppa's eyes flashed, and he said immediately, "But once you join the Justice League, you must be absolutely loyal to me." 5. If I can't ensure this, then I can't let anyone join casually. Loyal? Nodding thoughtfully, Piccolo and the others roughly understood what Buppa meant. 20. After looking at each other, Piccolo, Krillin, Shinshinhan and Dumpling got down on one knee and said, "I'm willing to be loyal to King Buppa, join the Justice League, and contribute to the peace of universe." Ding. Detect supporting roles. Piccolo, Krillin, Shinshinhan, Dumplings swear allegiance, whether they are bound. Bind. The corners of his mouth rose, and Buppa chose to bind without hesitation. 4 supporting roles. They must also be able to refresh the special rewards they need. Ding. Detect the loyalty of the bound character. Piccolo reaching 90, trigger 10 times the return ability, and reward Dragon Fist. Ding. Detect that the loyalty of the bound character Krillin reaches 90, trigger 10 times the return ability, and reward Spirit Bomb. Ding. Detect the bound character Shinshinhan's loyalty to 90, trigger 10 times the return ability, and reward Fusion Dance Steps. Ding. Detect that the loyalty of the bound character Dumpling reaches 90, trigger 10 times the return ability, and reward the superpower Imprisonment. Accompanied by the sound of the system prompt, the message of Dragon Fist, Spirit Bomb, Fusion Dance moves and Psychic Imprisonment popped into Buppa's mind. Among them, Dragon Fist, Spirit Bomb and Fusion Dance steps are one of Son Goku's stunts in the original book. The only thing that surprises Bupa is the superpower, imprisonment. According to information records, this super ability can freeze the opponent in place for 1 second. But the premise is that the strength of the two sides is almost the same, otherwise, even if it is displayed, there is no possibility of success. But even so, Bupa understands how unbelievable this superpower is. The existence of the same realm can hold it for a second, which completely allows him to easily defeat or even kill it. If it flashes when it is matched, it will definitely be able to kill it in an instant. Good. In a good mood, Bupa laughed loudly. Since all four are willing to join, then this king represents the Justice League and welcomes you to join. With that said, Bupa took out 3 spiritual fruits with a single thought, and threw them to Krillin, Shinshinhan and Dumpling. This is the spiritual fruit. After eating it, it can increase your combat power by 500,000, and it is given to you by this king. Greeting. As for Piccolo, you don't need this thing to strengthen your combat power. This king will let Dr. Mayo help you develop super Namek cells, which should be able to help you become stronger. After all, Namek people have also joined the Justice League, and using their cells to fuse super cells should be able to make Namek warriors evolve into real super Namek people. Thank you, King Bupa. Hearing this, Piccolo, Kling and others were overjoyed, especially the 3 of them. Their combat power is only about 1 million, and now this spiritual fruit can increase their combat power by 500,000, which is definitely a step to the sky. Without thinking about the rest, Krillin, Dumpling and Shinshinhan immediately ate the spiritual fruit. Ding. The detection task. Krillin increases his combat power by 500,000, triggers a 10-fold return, and the host's combat power increases by 5 million. Ding. The detection task. Shinshinhan increased his combat power by 500,000, triggering a 10-fold return, and the host's combat power increased by 5 million. 35. Ding. The detection task. Dumpling has increased its combat power by 500,000, triggering a 10-fold return, and the host's combat power has increased by 5 million. The system prompts resounded, but Bupa disagreed. The 3 of them only increased their combat power by 15 million, which is only a small amount for him now. However, he was quite satisfied with the special rewards that came out of the supporting roles, and he can clearly see now that the loyalty of the Piccolo 4 has increased from the original 90 to about 95. As long as they continue to brush some loyalty, they will be able to refresh special rewards again when their loyalty reaches 100. Goku, it's time to eat. At this time, the voice of Chi-Chi came from a distance. As a virtuous wife, Chi-Chi's craftsmanship and cooking skills are nothing to say, and soon followed by a lot of delicious food. Seeing this situation, Bupa and the others did not hesitate, and quickly stepped forward to start eating and drinking. After a meal, Bupa took out another spirit fruit and gave it to Chi-Chi. After eating, Chi-Chi's combat power also reached the point of more than 500,000. So far, she is also a real powerhouse on Earth. For the next few days, Bupa lived in Baozi Mountain. 110 teaches Son Goku and Son Goten to exercise their tails during the day, and at night teleports back to the new Veg to start to accompany Bulma, number 21 and Lazuli. Just like that, 7 days passed quietly. Ding. Detecting the bound character Broly's combat power increased by 500 billion to trigger a 10-fold return. Congratulations to the host for increasing the combat power by 5 trillion. On this day, Bupa had just finished giving instructions to Son Goku and Son Goten when a system alert sounded in his ears. In an instant, the chi in Bupa's body increased, from the original 29.6 trillion to 34.6 trillion. Is it finished? With an increase of 500 billion combat power, it seems that Broly's potential is indeed stronger. The corners of his mouth rose, and Bupa immediately clapped his hands. Kakarot, Goen, it's time for me to leave. 35. Broly's potential development has been completed, and the next 7 days are for me to develop my own potential. 35. You guys exercise your tails during this time, and I'll be back in 7 days to instruct you on your Super Saiyan 4 transformation. 99. Yes, it is good. Hearing this, Son Goku and Son Goten nodded immediately. Although 7 days have passed, however, they have not completely mastered the tail, and they dare not rashly try to transform into Super Saiyan 4. It is safer for them to wait 7 days. If you like this audiobook, subscribe the channel for more videos like this. And join my Patreon if you want to support me, where you can find advanced audiobooks that hasn't been uploaded on YouTube till now. Leave some comment and let me know if you guys like this story, or you have a web novel you like and want to hear its audiobook. I will be happy to create them for you. Please like, share, and leave a comment on the video.